Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keep It Spiritually Simple. I'm your host, Sandra McEllis. And for all of you who are new to the show, please hit the subscribe button so that you do not miss any upcoming episodes of Keep It Spiritually Simple. We have multitude of topics, multitude of beautiful guests. Nothing is rehearsed. Everything is brought on spirit driven. Topics are kind of selected in the moment. And we hope that it brings you, the viewers, some peace and also some mental expansion and opening up of the heart, and just give you some food for nourishment, food for thought, food for just making you feel good. All right, everybody. So guess who we have back? Dr. Nancy Clark. And I'm so excited because we've done a couple episodes that are being posted. And we're going to get into a couple more of her poems today. And now, before we did it, Spirit selected poems. We read them, dissected them, and then kind of read them again. And so this time for me, I'm going to be just like the viewer because the poem was already pre-selected, and then I'm going to get to hear it and feel it and see it and sense it just like all the viewers will for the first time. So welcome, Dr. Nancy.
Thank you for having me back. It's a privilege to be back here with you and all
I'm
your
so excited.
viewers.
Yeah, so excited. All right. So let's talk about divine essence to love spiritual poems. And guys, if you want to know anything more about Dr. Nancy and how all this came about, please go back and look at previous episodes. There'll be one on plant medicine, there'll be a part 1, 2, 3, and multiple ones on the spiritual poems. Well, that'll help you get to know her and how she started on this journey and how this book came about. And we're going to be getting into a lot of the other books and the vast knowledge that she has done a lot of work to bring forward to us today. So, all right, let's get to it. What poem are we going to do today?
Well, today's first poem is called Beloved's Arrow, and it's
What
located
page?
222.
Ooh, love the number.
I know. So I'll go ahead and start reading it, and then we'll dissect it. Souls ask, what is divine love like? You are walking toward home, and one day the beloved's arrow pierces your heart so deeply. You cry not because the pain hurts. You know it is the arrow that caused the union. Even though the agony is from the arrow, you keep this in your heart. You are so overwhelmed by the arrow, for it is a direct hit. The divine precision, a bullseye in the center of the heart. Divine love cannot be learned in a book. You have to experience this arrow. You can spend a lifetime waiting for the beloved's arrow to come. When the divine presence shoots this arrow, it never misses the target. Once pierced, you won't be able to hide this arrow. You happily serve the beloved. Whatever is asked, you place your hand over your heart. You feel the beloved's arrow. The arrow of divine love is bliss. You cry because you know how precious this beloved's arrow is. You keep it there as a remembrance. You ache so deeply. No one understands this deep anguish of union that comes from the arrow. You will spend the rest of your life trying to explain it. You know deep down it has to be experienced. Only then does the soul know how deep this arrow goes within. The beloved's arrow brings the absorption of divine love. Watch a child when given a new puppy. The child is so absorbed that it only beholds and desires to be with the puppy. You walk through this life treasuring the beloved's arrow within. The beloved's arrow of divine love causes the metamorphosis.
Mm.
I have to admit, this one is my favorite because it's based on an outer mystical experience that I had several years ago. And it touched me so deeply that I had to write a poem about it to just try to explain this experience that many of us will have on a deep spiritual journey. And it's so interesting because in this book that I'm currently writing, will be the fifth book, it talks about, one of my chapters is inner mystical experiences and outer mystical experiences. And this one classifies as an outer mystical experience. And outer mystical experiences are based on inner. So you'll have the experience on the inner, but it's so impactful, it literally can affect you and into your outer life. And so I was getting out of bed one day and I just put my feet on the floor and it was like bam, so it hit me. And my brain, my ego and my brain is trying to figure out what's going on because literally I had to take a step back. It literally was so powerful. And so my brain is trying to figure out what it just hit me that caused me to take a step or two back. And I felt this, and it was even hard to put into words, like I had been shot through the heart with an arrow, is what it felt like. And so then my higher self steps in and starts telling me about how I had just been hit with the beloved's arrow, and it literally felt like it went through my back. I mean, it was a precision direct hit right through the center of my heart. And so I'm having this mystical experience on the outer, and all this stuff is going on. All these, of course, your body reacts, your mind reacts, your emotions reacts, your soul even is reacting to this experience. And so much was going on inside of me that I when I got done having this experience, I was spending a lot of time in seclusion. I was spending a lot of time in research and writing and just spending a lot of time on the inner with the beloved. And I think that this was just one of the things that can happen to many of us. And it's not just, and it wasn't until about 6 months ago, a new revelation about that experience came to me because I was thinking, when I was talking to someone, they had read the poem and they were going, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Well, could I have this experience?" And I go, "Maybe, but it might be similar, but in a different way." Like for me, it wasn't until I was trying to talk about this that I realized when I was a Girl Scout growing up, I was a Girl Scout all through elementary and junior high, and my favorite was archery. And so the divine used something in my cosmology, in my history, in my likes, and something that I could really deeply relate to. And that's what was so interesting, is it chose an arrow and this whole archery, this whole imagery, this whole allegory of this whole thing about of archery. So if somebody's into, let's say, gardening or roses or something, they may have an outer mystical experience, but it may be in a garden, or it might be out in the ocean if they are a big into boating or swimming or something. It may have something to do with being out in the water. So spirit's going to use what's going to impact you the most and that you can relate to as well. So it's so interesting how some of these things, even years later, you could go, that's why it was the whole, imagery of the archery and the divine precision and the bullseye and, the direct hit and all this stuff. Because whenever I was at Girl Scout camp, a lot of the kids were in the pool, but I was always in the art where the archery was. I was always shooting the arrow and practicing, and I was where the archery area was. So it's just so interesting how that's how unique and how special we are, is that the divine doesn't have a set for everybody. It's unique as our individual souls are. So let's go back through here where it talks about souls ask, what is divine love like? And I think we go through life in physical form in this this period of time where we feel separate, which again, we cannot be separate from that which we are made of, but it's the illusion of separation for us to experience darkness and duality and have go through a lot of these tests and lessons in the earth school. And so it's saying you just happen to be walking along, and then one day, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, spirit gives you this experience. And this one was, a lot of people, when you have something that affects your heart, they immediately want to take the arrow out. Like if somebody hits you with something, you would want to remove it. And, but the soul was saying to the mind, no, leave it in, leave the arrow in. And so even though the agony is from the arrow, you keep this in your heart, and you're so overwhelmed by the precision of how the divine touches your life so deeply in areas you can't even imagine. And the divine precision, a bullseye in the center of the heart. Love cannot be learned in a book. And I've had so many deep, wise master soul teachers. They've all left the planet at this point and crossed over. But one of the things they would say is that your mind can only take you so far on a spiritual journey. You have to at some point start experiencing it, because there are no words a lot of times or way to explain it. It's only through experience, that direct experience, that we really, really then know deeply. And so at some point, when the book knowledge can only take you so far, of saying your mind can only take you so far, then the soul steps up and starts to lead your life and starts having these experiences. And so you have to experience this arrow. You can spend a lifetime waiting for the beloved's arrow to come. When the divine presence shoots the arrow, it never misses the target. So it's kind of one of those things where there's no mistakes, even though our mind will say this shouldn't be happening, but it's happening. It's like and we don't know what is spirit is setting up for us in the future. Once pierced, you won't be able to hide this arrow. You'll happily serve the beloved. And I was thinking about this morning, where there was somewhere that Jesus was being questioned, and the answer that he responded was, well, I'm about my Father's business. So it kind of was a great reminder that we as light workers are to serve the divine plan and to be about our Father's business. And a lot of times it's not going to make sense to those around us, or our ego, our mind. And then whatever is asked, you place your hand on your heart, and you feel the beloved's arrow. And it's this bliss that comes because you're in service to the divine plan. And so therefore it's a remembrance. Like a lot of times when I'm going through a lot of these projects I'm currently working on, I'll even put my hand over my heart, and I can feel this beloved's arrow. And for others, it might be a rose or something else that's significant to that particular soul. And so it continues on about how this anguish is from the union. And you develop this, it's like a longing, like this deep, deep ache and longing. And you'll hear a lot about the mystics over the centuries that talk about this longing and longing. And it's not that they feel separate, because they know they've had this mystical union, divine union, but it's just that they're realizing they're on assignment here, and there is a lot. It can be overwhelming. There is a lot on their shoulders. A lot is being asked of them, and they hope they can serve it to the best of their capacity, their abilities. And I think that they are just homesick. They're just remembering what it's like on the other side of the veil. And so then the beloved's arrow brings the absorption of divine love. And then the next two lines is kind of explaining what absorption is, like a child given a new puppy. They can't see or think anything else. They just want to be with the puppy. Isn't it like our souls that just want to be with the beloved? We get tired. I think even our mind gets tired of the circus and the circus of life and all the running around and stuff. And really, even a lot of times our mind and ego wants peace as well. And so you walk through this life treasuring the beloved's arrow within. And the beloved's arrow of divine love is what causes the metamorphosis. So it's actually the love of the divine that just purifies us and burns away all this stuff that a lot of times our ego has placed on us that's not necessary. So
Mm.
that's was just to me, people have read it, male and female, and they can feel this experience of what it would be like to have this arrow shot right into your heart and how it can literally change your life. You see life differently, you interact with life completely differently, and people around you. So that's what I really liked about the Beloved's Arrow poem.
It's beautiful. Do you want to reread that again, or do you want to go on to another one?
It's up to you. Do you think it's been pretty well
I
explained
think
or
it's been very well explained, and you went
yeah.
back over each little part of it. So I
Yeah,
feel
we can go to
like
the next
I
poem.
feel like that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to inviting this arrow.
But
What
it
page?
could be something else. It may not
It
be an
could be. Could
arrow.
be.
And it's when you least expect it. I mean, I didn't see it coming. So you never know what spirit's up to.
And like you said, it will use metaphors that are based on your own understanding. It'll have meaning to you. So that's important too, right?
Yes. Yes.
What page are we going to?
Our next one is on page 33,
Okay.
and it's called Spiritual Battle. And I feel that a lot of us can relate to this. Many of us, light workers, light warriors. And I'll start with it's light and darkness, battle in the lower realms, all consuming warfare, humans caught in the middle. Absolute light always prevails. Remember, you are in the lower kingdom, where darkness conquers. Darkness will try to deceive you. Light warrior, stand in your glory. You cannot achieve your medals until you have gone into battle. Lower dimensions are the battlefield. You came here to shine powerful light. Be proud of your battle scars. All Master Soul teachers share about this spiritual battle between light and darkness. You are in a dark world. This is why you came here. Warmth and renewal from absolute fire. Darkness will try to overpower you. Connect to your true identity. Light warrior, pull out your sword. Put on the armor of light. Shine brightly in a dark world. After completion of Earth assignment, upon arrival back home, celebration banquet in your honor. Your friends on the other side of life cheer you on, proud of you. Stand tall with courage, revered, precious light warrior.
Mm.
I think this poem is such a it's such a great encouragement and boost for us because we kind of a lot of times see ourselves as mere mortals and insignificant and just a number amongst millions, and that's not true at all. And we're these bright, beaming, beautiful souls, and we have a lot more power than we really give ourselves credit for. And so I think this is a great reminder that even, and I'm reminded of something that was asked when he was on trial with Pontius Pilate, and he was saying, are you a king? And he's saying, well, this is not my kingdom. And he was very well aware of whose kingdom it was. And in fact, that's why he was tempted 3 times by Lucifer in the Bible. It talks about this because Lucifer wanted him to join forces with him. And so Jesus was very well aware whose kingdom he was in, and it wasn't his kingdom, it was in the lower dark kingdoms. And so there is always this battle between light and darkness. But how else are we to truly understand darkness if we've never experienced it? And many of us come from these very upper, high level dimensions where there is no darkness. So we come down into this dark density of the third dimensional reality. And now many of us are very overwhelmed because we've never experienced this type of density, this darkness, this evil, this, it can be, but it's not to scare us or for us to, I mean, a lot of us can get tired of the battle. And they always say, please take a break. Soldiers even rest, they get downtime, and then they go back in recharged and ready to fight, the good fight. And so, but I think it's really important for us to realize, because of free will, we choose what side that we're going to fight on. Are we going to fight on the side of darkness or on the side of the light? And that's a personal choice. And many humans get caught in the middle of this battle between light and darkness. And we don't realize a lot of times we are making these choices every day to either serve the light or serve darkness. And it's all in our personal choices of how we live our life, who we associate with, the decisions we make, and the choices and that sort of thing. So I think it's a great reminder for us to realize that we are in the midst of a spiritual battle, and which side are we going to fight on? And hopefully, we remember that we came here to serve the light. And I know it can times be very confusing, and we can kind of feel like justify a lot of our decisions, but I think a lot of times we really need to realize that what's really at stake here, it's more than just survival in the physical world. I think that a lot of times we have to make a stand and say, I do this because this is the right thing to do, even though our ego is going to argue with us and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're like, no, this is the right thing to do. And it may not benefit me financially, but that's not why I came here. And I came here to make a stand. So yeah, I think that this poem came about as just, I think, encouragement for light workers here.
And I love the fact that you put it said it came through to you, the armor of light, because that's really what we have in our etheric body, and it is our armor, it is our protection, and it's where we house so much. And many people aren't resonating out there long enough to pick up that light. They're looking at it as, "Yeah, this is protecting me from dark," but it's really there as a source of information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you bring up a really great point because the body actually emits light, and that
Mm-hmm.
comes from a lot of the photons within us, the atoms, and they're constantly spinning. That's just high pure source energy. And so, in my first book, Our Divinity Revealed, I talk about it's about light and sound, and that's one of the things is that I go into is how there was this experiment that was done on plants and physical bodies and how much light, and it can actually be measured. So
Yes,
yes.
that's powerful. All right, which one's next?
The next one is called Perfume on page 211.
You guys got to get this book. You just got to get this book.
Oh,
I get to visually see it, listen to it, feel it. It just, plus, there's always light codes in someone else's writing, by the way. So when you get a book and you touch it, you're touching part of Nancy's light codes and what she has brought through. So, this is a powerful book and it has so much to offer. So, okay, perfume, let's get
Hey,
to it.
perfume. When you come close, fragrance fills your senses. You can't capture it. It can only be enjoyed. Your mind gets filled with the ecstasy of love. This perfume is a potion you want to put on every morning. Your soul cries out, having been deeply touched. This perfume wakes you up. You become homesick. The beloved fills you completely. World's trinkets lose your interest. Every time you smell this perfume, you know this euphoria. This love story has you seeking, yearning, filled with desire for the beloved who knows you intimately. Breathe deep this rapturous perfume. The divine whispers saying, remember this divine love. Keep company with those who wear this perfume. They remind you of the divine presence who has never left you.
Woo, doggy.
And nobody sells it here in the outer world,
No,
so
they do not.
you
They
can't
do
go to the
not.
store and buy this.
No, no, but it falls right into, the old saying of birds of a feather flock together, but we're on vibrational frequency. So when you find other people who are on this vibrational frequency, this perfume, woo, does the room light up? I mean, you and I had it. You know, like nothing else exists around. You get locked into this conversation and time has no time, right? And
Yes.
so that's what this reminds me of. And it's a high that you can't even explain. It's a spiritual dope, you know, that you get on because you're like, wow. And then all the other mundane things of your daily grind just don't have the importance or the values that you thought they held because this vibrational frequency has such a richness to it. And that's where you want to stay. That's where you want to build. That's where you want to bond.
Yes. And it almost becomes like, I don't want to say an addiction, but you get really hooked on this. You're like,
Of
nothing
course.
else compares. You
Yes.
just that's why you lose your interest in the trinkets of the world because you're like,
Mhm.
oh, it doesn't come close in comparison to the feeling this. And I think that a lot of times what happens, and it happens for all of us, we're meant to get lost in the world for a while and then we wake up. But while we're lost, we try to fill this void with all these trinkets and it just doesn't work. This emptiness inside, this void, and we can't quite put our finger on it. We really don't know what it is. But we just, and then when we actually get a taste of it or get a whiff of this perfume, we're like, oh my gosh. And that I think is part of the awakening process because nothing else compares anymore. It's
Mhm.
like the world has more of a dullness to it. And that's why you kind of it loses its luster and its interest. Yes, we do our daily duties and that sort of thing, but that's not what drives us anymore.
No, and the things that we thought that brought us luster, the things that, oh, well, we graduate, we need to go this, and then we need to get a house, and then we need to get a partner, and then we need to do this, and we need to do that. And you build for all these things and you're doing it. And then you look back and you're just so proud of all your accomplishments. But then when you get to this elixir of perfume and this bonding and this vibration, you look at it like, ah, that served its purpose. It is not what I value anymore. And we start to let a lot of those things go. And that's the old programming that is dissolving, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
we're bringing in a whole different vibration, a whole different frequency. And perfume has its own frequency, it has um, its own connection with your chemistry. So it
Mhm.
can ignite each person a little differently, but the common ground is that, wow, I found something that has so much more grounding and so much more euphoria and so much more importance in my life that my mission is shifting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
So
That was
it's
beautiful. Go ahead.
um, our next poem is on page 178 and it's called Divine Elixir.
I just said that word
I know, that's what I was gonna.
and I had no idea that's where you were going. See, we're on a vibrational chord. Whoa, here it is. There it is, everybody, right there.
And also on my YouTube channel, I'm starting to put out these poems to music and beautiful scenery in the background, and it has me reading the poem, but the poem is actually scrolled on the page, so scrolling down the page, so you can actually see the words and really connect with it and all your different senses. And so they're now being loaded and will continue over the next probably 6 months because there's 224 poems in this book. So
Uh,
so we'll be doing that for quite a bit, but
and we'll make sure all the links are in the description, everyone. And if you don't see it on the podcasting channel, flip over here to Sandra McEllis, Keep It Spiritually Simple, where you can see Nancy's and my face and our personalities and what's what we're laughing about over here. And the links will also be in that YouTube description as well. So anyway, go ahead. Divine Elixir.
all right. I got drunk today. What could I do? Source kept pouring love into my glass. The whole world disappears. All I feel is the warming effects of the spirit elixir, that warm, fuzzy, relaxing sensation of the brew. The whole world looks different. Who cares? Let's have another glass of the love ambrosia. My drinking buddy is my dearest friend and companion. The inner presence keeps me under the influence. In my drunken stupor, people see me smiling and feel I am a fool. My soul can't get enough of this ecstasy. Please, more. I have to continue to get more. Don't stop pouring. I can have as much as I want. Oh my goodness. The love is always flowing. Just keep drinking. Keep drinking. I don't want the effects to wear off. Soul keeps drinking. The world begins to fade away. Don't want to be sober anymore. World, please disappear. Only desire to feel the effects of this wine for the soul. Shakes come when the effects wears off. Need to get back to the mystical lounge. A moment without the divine is agony. World is a crazy place. Requires the love to not let it affect me. Let the world spin. Eyes glazed over by the divine releases the effects. Oh, blessed one, please don't stop pouring. The abundance is overwhelming. Let the bliss rain down. Want to be drenched. Soak me with your love.
I have no words here. I just have no words. Fill up my cup. Let me just continue filling my cup. Waterfall. Oh my goodness. All right, go ahead. Get into this
This
one.
one, I have to say, Spirit has a sense of humor. When this poem came in, I was in the shower and I was like, not funny. This isn't funny. I don't have a piece of paper and pen to write this down. That was the funniest thing. And as this is coming in, I'm like, oh my God, this is really good. This is a really good one. And that's why I was, kind of every time I read this in the back, I remember when this poem came in. And so, of course, I'm like rushing to get out of the shower so I can get a pen and paper to write it, start writing it down so I didn't forget it. But but yes, this is mystics over the centuries have talked about this intoxication, this divine ambrosia, this you get literally intoxicated. If you spend enough time with the beloved, you will have this sense of intoxication and you get to where you want to have more of this divine elixir, this ambrosia, this intoxication. You don't want to it to wear off. And so it was just a neat way of explaining how we can spend our life really in this intoxication and this with having this wine for the soul.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
think that's got to be one of my favorite ones so far.
it has a different
It
view
does.
on drinking
Hmm.
and that warm fuzzy feeling that comes over to you when you're drinking and you have it's just like it we can really relate to this, but it's so interesting how it has its different effects
Yeah,
on
and
in
I gave up alcohol years ago, just for anti-inflammatory. I mean, I always loved celebratory wine and so on and so forth, but I celebrate life just with my own cups of happiness and joy and but some people need to have a little something in order to get to another place, right? Because they let go of their guards for the day. But we could learn to be on this vibrational soul wine for the soul elixir, just by being on that frequency. And reading this poem, I think, can ignite that for many people.
Yes, they don't have to have alcohol to
That's
have this
right.
warm, fuzzy feeling of a particular brew. And this is a reservoir that's always there. You know,
Yes.
you can come to the reservoir at any time you need this love hit, this love potion, this divine elixir.
Mm,
Always there. It's just learning how to tap into it. And I think also having people around you of a similar vibrational frequency really does help. We need spiritual community. Souls also, they're on their spiritual journey. We encourage each other and pat each other on the back. Keep going. I know sometimes our challenges can be a lot and overwhelming, but I think that's where the joy comes when souls come together and they are you can smell the perfume of your your other soul friends, and that really is a great indicator. That's what I was thinking when that poem came in about perfume. I was like I was thinking about how we are part of our own tribe, our own spiritual tribe. And, we can look at each other and say, I totally get you. To the world, you may seem odd, but not to me. We've awakened and we get it. So yeah.
yes, and the more we awaken and we change, our frequencies are elevating and changing and calibrating. Our pheromones, our own physical chemistry is changing. So our sense, our desires, our physical, taste, our smells, our touch, everything is very different because we're emanating from a different um, source light because we are a piece of source, right?
You make a great point. I think a lot of people get a whiff of us, if I can say that correctly. It's like when people get around you, they'll smell you.
Yes.
They'll smell you spiritually. They'll smell you vibrationally, this frequency. And a lot of times they can't quite put their finger on it, but they know there's something really different about you, how you carry yourself in the world and interact with the world and people and that sort of thing. And that's where a lot of times we can be the best witness and we don't even have to say anything. It's just our frequency. Just there's like it's almost like there's in my one of my other books, it says the lighthouse doesn't run around all over the islands looking to save the boats. It just stands there and shines.
Hmm. Very powerful. Well,
Yeah.
Dr. Nancy, once again, the time has gone by, and this has been amazing. And sharing your amazing book. Love this book. I pick it up at night and just kind of turn the page, and one pops up, and I'm like, woosah. There's always something interesting to feel and see and sense, reading it. Um, so we'd love to have you back on, and let's talk more about plant medicine, shall we?
Absolutely.
Because
I'm
I
looking
think
forward
that's
to
super
getting into that.
important. And we can talk more about poems and all kinds of things. So we'll just pick a topic the next time we get together and just go with the flow. So,
Good.
everybody, please remember to hit like, subscribe, and share. And remember that the links below to Dr. Nancy will be connected. And so please check out her website, check out her YouTube channel, and just keep hitting that circulating like button and leave a comment or a question. Who knows? Maybe it'll get answered on one of the episodes. So, Dr. Nancy, let's say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.